verifiably that we are not the only religion God uses. And if we keep it a buck, God ain't using them at all with all this damage that they're creating. Be able to discern, current Jehovah's Witnesses, good food from bad food. Moving on. Governing body. Why you hiding all your money in offshore accounts? What are you doing gambling in the stock market? What are you doing with these riches in the first place? Because don't you know a rich man will not inherit God's kingdom? Ain't that what you preaching to your parishioners? All the poor, broke ones? People who ain't got no house? People who are leaving their houses to your company? What are you doing with all this money? That's the question. Next article. Jehovah's hiding money. Pressreader.com. Jehovah's hiding money. Sex abuse victims attack evasive actions. Attack evasive actions. I'm going to read one paragraph. 2 sentences. 1 sentence. And then we're going to talk about the elephant in the room later. Quote, the Jehovah's Witness religious denomination has been accused of selling assets and sending cash offshore to avoid paying Australian child sex abuse victims. End quote. We're going to talk about that one in a minute. The Australian Royal Commission. We're going to talk about that elephant in the room. Sending money offshore, their defiance is heavy. Let me be honest, they cannot concede anything, because once that very first judgment goes through in the courts against them, it opens the door for a landslide of cases, and they will not survive it. They will not. That's why they're doing everything they can. All kinds of underhanded stuff. I haven't even gotten to it yet. I don't even know if I have enough time in today's podcast to get to it. I may have to do a series about it. Defiance, moving money, changing status in their corporation/LLC so that they're not held accountable for these cases. But we gonna get you though. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. They coming. They're not all going away. They're not going away. But we just talked about this. And you know why we can find this article? I'll put it below. Because people are looking for it, Jehovah's Witnesses. They want to know what's happened. And shout out to some of you Jehovah's Witnesses who are the ones looking for this stuff. It's out here. We are not lying to you. How can we be? How can we be lying to you when we grew up in this same religion you did, and we're repeating back to you the stuff that you're currently going through? Get your mind off cruise control and start thinking. You heard me? And I'm glad some of you are. Some of you who've been in for... Just the other day, I was working on this, and I saw a couple who've been in this religion for 60 years. 60. I mean, I got to be careful how I say that. That means something out here. You know what I'm saying? 60 years. And they finally rolled out, left, gone. Said, you know what? She wasn't even... Well, she held back her bitterness by saying, you know what? At least I'm out. At least I get to start over. 60 years of her life gone. This is why we do what we do. Learn to differentiate good food from bad food. We are giving you good food right now, current Jehovah's Witnesses. We're giving you that good macaroni, them greens. Giving you some of this turkey. You understand what I'm talking about? Some of this dressing. We just finished Thanksgiving. For those of y'all who celebrated. You know what I mean? We're giving you some of that. Some of these beans. We're giving you that. It's good for your soul, make you feel good. You might take a nap afterwards, but you're going to feel good. We're trying to release y'all. We ain't lying to you, and you know we're not lying to you. This is why we do it. No accountability. Another question is where they get all this money? I already know the answer. Current Jehovah's Witnesses, do you? Do you know where they got this money? They got it from you. You gave it to them. You donated your house to them, to a tax-free organization that gave you nothing in return, not even anything for your spirit person, the inside of you. They gave you nothing. You gave them your time, which you'll never get back. You gave them all your money. You can get your money back. You can make money all day, 1,000 different ways now. But you can't get your time back. But they got all this money from you, your free labor. You can start a business right now for $5 on the $5 app. Right now, and come up. At the very least, have enough money to pay for your mortgage, your rent, your room you rent. You can start on a $5 app. The tool I'm using right now to record this didn't cost me anything. I downloaded it for free. You heard me? They got all that money off of you and telling you, wait, let me back up. They're also building a new entertainment center that'll be done somewhere around 2022 off the money you gave them. But more importantly, they are planning for the future. Because this won't be done until 2022, 23, maybe longer. I don't remember what the date was. But they are planning for the future. They're building stuff, but telling you every Sunday, this old wicked system of things, this is it. Satan's winning. I'm going to talk to the friends, tell the friends, don't try to accomplish nothing. Don't try to think about doing nothing for the future. Meanwhile, they doing it. Why are they doing something and telling you something different? You're not going to get away from this, y'all. You're not going to get away from it. Everybody, I'm talking to everybody now. Look at what they're doing. This is why we do it. They ruin lives and move on in true corporate fashion. Crush and keep stepping like they ain't done nothing wrong. Except this time, all it's going to take is one case, one judge, one case, one prosecutor. And that's a wrap. All that money you transferring is going to be doled out. No matter how many limits you put on each case. Everybody coming. People you ain't never heard of. They just waiting. For that first case to crack off. Then they going to hit you with the sex abuse cases. They going to hit you with the lost wages cases. That's the one that's going to really kill them. All these people, me included, that missed out on an opportunity to do something athletically just because I didn't believe that my mother and father would support me in going to college. Lost wages. Now, that doesn't mean I was going to be a millionaire. No, don't mean that at all. But I could have played overseas, hopefully. It's a lot of bums everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I could have done something, or it could have led to something else that I wanted to do. As a matter of fact, there was a dude in the NBA a few months ago that says, I'm going to stop playing because of my religion. He was a Jehovah's Witness. Now, I'm pretty sure there's more to it than that, but you get my drift. Now, let's talk about this 10,000-pound elephant up in the room. The upper room. For all y'all that seen the movie Life, you know what I'm talking about. We still have some fun with it, y'all. This is serious stuff, but we still have some fun with it. But let's talk about it. And we did just a few minutes ago. All these cases, all the list they're asking them to turn over, they're refusing. And for those of you who don't know, there's supposedly a database of people, that had improper relationships with kids. And the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, or as Mikey from Mike and Kim like to say, the Watchtower Babble and Crap Society. Shout out to them folks. They refusing to turn over and being fined until they do. They're doing everything they can to avoid paying their dues for this stuff. They've created all these problems, all these monsters. Some people are never going to recover. Some people have committed suicide over this stuff. And they're refusing to be accountable. But it won't last long. This is why I mentioned the Catholic Church. No disrespect. I'm just saying these people had the same issue with these kids. And they made adjustments. They made amendments and moved on. And took care of the PR side of things, and they moved on. That's the reality of it. The Jehovah's Witnesses are refusing to do it. And I said in a previous podcast, I said you should fire your PR team. Fire them all. Every last one of them, because they're leading you wrong. You've had enough corporate examples of how to do things to get yourself out of trouble, and you've not looked at any of them, governing body. You've had enough examples of what to do and what not to do. So don't worry. Your defiance is what is strengthening the push. It's taking those little rocks and little stones they were throwing, went from little rocks to snowballs, and now they boulders, and now they landslides that you're not going to recover from. Australian Royal Commission. Go take some time to look at that, y'all. Jehovah's Witnesses, we're not lying to you. Everything I'm saying, you can go verify. You can't verify nothing the governing body is saying. Not a single goddamn thing. I cuss sometimes when I'm into it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm preaching right now. So when you hear me cussing, it's because I feel like I'm preaching. Amen. But yeah, that's heavy. All it takes is one. Once that door crack is home. And let me give you something else to think about. It's called House Bill 90. And just off the top of my head, I don't remember where they are with it, if it even passed or not. But it was written. It was out of Utah. Can't think of it. Angela Romero, I think is the lady that wrote it. And what it does is it removes the priest penitent privilege, which means, when in terms of Catholics, when they go in and confess to the priest, if they confess something that is a foul of the law to the priest, he's got to report it, right? And I believe that the Jehovah's Witness organization falls under this as well, right? Probably all religions everywhere, which is good. That is another tool that if they haven't already passed it, if it does pass, that's gonna make it even easier for these cases to start flowing through the court system. You know what I'm talking about? So, or governing body is your final chance in these last days before you get, before Jehovah comes, and for you to make right. Because like you said, you do have to be held accountable, right? For what you do here on this earth. We all do. Y'all too. And what you are doing is not showing accountability. It is not forcing a young woman to listen to her rape for hours while you interrogate her. These are facts, people. These are facts. Nobody's lying to you about it. Jehovah's Witness elders May 18 listen to recording of her rape for hours, lawsuit claims. This is the Independent out of the UK. At issue is whether courts can hold churches liable for inflicting emotional distress during religiously motivated processes. Further down, elders at a Utah, this is in the States, elders at a Utah congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses allegedly forced a 15-year-old to listen to a recording of her rape over and over again for hours as part of a religious inquiry, a lawsuit before the Utah Supreme Court claims. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. And this last part, I'm jumping around in it, but I want you to really let this sink in. The church claims, and lower courts have ruled, that to hold them liable would violate the religious freedoms of the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, since it involves weighing the appropriateness of religious conduct. End quote. This is why I mentioned House Bill 90. I think it is my belief and my hope that if that passes, that it allows them to just crack away at this organization. That way they can't use frail surface arguments like this and keep getting away with it. And let me say this to all the people that went through that. I'm with you, and I feel I can't imagine, and I feel for you. But we are out here advocating in different ways for you and for everyone else, for myself, for all the people who went through things that we know nothing about. We are out here advocating. And again, this is why we do what we do. These are not apostate-driven lies, current Jehovah's Witnesses. These are not that. Courts aren't gathering and going through formal processes just to lie to you and your insignificant religion. They're not doing that. Lawyers aren't putting together defenses. That's not happening. This goes back to, again, if you think that way, then you're not able to discern between good food and bad food. And rest assured, you have been given bad food. And let me say one more thing before I close out. Didn't plan to even include this, but I just remembered it. This organization is so desperate for money to fight their cases that over the last year, they have asked from their podiums during their talks, they are asking, or were asking, their members for their rewards points and gift cards. Do you hear what I am saying to you? They provide nothing. All they do is take. Just how desperate do you have to be? How desperate do you have to be to start begging, eloquently enough, but it's still begging for people's rewards points and gift cards? And sure enough, people are going to give it to them. But those are people that will probably most likely never be able to reach. but we are reaching more and more every day, every week, every year.